Recording Isabel, feel free. It looks like we closed the poll. I just want to start by saying welcome everyone again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for indulging me in the poll. This is the panel. I wanted to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So our focus today is talking about on-campus jobs and who best to ask these questions to the employers and folks who hire students here at CSUN. And what do they look for? What type of positions are out there? What are some tips that they recommend to make you a competitive candidate for finding an on-campus job? They're here to answer those questions. I'm the career counselor out of on-campus student employment here at the Career Center. So I talk about on-campus jobs till I am tired, until I am done, and this week definitely. So I want you all not to hear from me. I want you to all hear from different folks on campus who it's they hire students, they look for students. So we're going to go into a panel discussion. We're going to leave time for questions from you all, and then we're going to wrap up with some resources. I want to start off with just briefly introducing some of the folks that I have here on the team. So I'll start off with Isabel. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Happy week 2 of the fall semester. My name is Isabel Casas, and I'm the student employment advisor as part of the staff at the Career Center.
Thank you, Isabel. I'll pass it off next to Shannon. Go for it, Shannon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon. I'm a grad assistant here at the Career Center working with on-campus student employment and from here to career. So very happy to be here with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. And then next, Sarah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining the panel today. I'm Sarah Hernandez. I'm one of the From Here to Career peer educators.
Thanks, Sarah. And then last but not least, Michaela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela, and I'm also a From Here to Career peer mentor with Sarah. It's very nice to see you all today.
Yay, thank you all. So these are the folks behind the scenes making everything run, the recording, the Q&A. So if they're answering questions in the chat, it's okay because they know what they're talking about. They're peer educators who work out of the Career Center and our and staff. So now I want to go into introducing the reason why we are here, our panelists, right? So we're going to go into introducing each of our panelists. So I'll pass it off to Isabel if you want to introduce our first panelist here today.
Of course. So first on our panel is Jennifer Jimenez from TRIO Educational Talent Search, ETS, as the advising coordinator. Jennifer serves as the advising coordinator for Region 2 high schools, which include Sylmar, Monroe, and Kennedy. She holds a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in family and consumer sciences. Jennifer has worked with first-generation, low-income high school students in multiple capacities, beginning as a student assistant, tutor, and mentor for both TRIO, ETS, and Upward Bound programs. She later became an administrative assistant and now supports students in her role as an ETS advising coordinator, where she is dedicated to helping students explore and pursue post-secondary education opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you, Isabel. Now we'll go on to Guadalupe. So also part of TRIO, but she specifically works with Upward Bound. Thank you for being here today, Guadalupe. Guadalupe has a bachelor's degree in recreation tourism management from CSUN. We love alum. She's worked with CSUN TRIO for 5 years. Her previous roles with TRIO include tutor, mentor, student administrative assistant to Upward Bound, advising coordinator, and her current role includes focusing on high school student recruitment and retention in 3 targeted high schools, Birmingham Charter, Sylmar, and Reseda. This includes close contact with administrations, counselors, students, and parents. Also plans and develops events throughout the school year and a 6-week summer program and oversees daily operation of program and events, supervises supporting staff and student employees. Her passion is to educate and support students and parents about higher education. Thank you for being here today, Guadalupe. Go for it, Shannon. Introduce our next panelist.
All righty. Next up, we have Veronica Torres, who is a career counselor here at the Career Center. She's also part of the Peer Educator Program Coordinator. And Veronica Torres is a CSUN homegrown student affairs leader with over 7 years of experience working with students on an interpersonal, academic, and professional level. After noticing a gap between deaf students and their access to higher education and professional opportunities, she pursued her Bachelor of Arts in Deaf Studies at CSUN. In her undergraduate experience, she held various student assistant positions, such as a career peer educator at the Career Center, a website accessibility student assistant with student development and transitional programs, and a peer educator for Project DATE, with University Counseling Services. On a journey to continue advocating for historically marginalized students, Veronica went on to pursue her Master's of Science in Counseling with an emphasis in college counseling and student services. Currently, Veronica is a career counselor with the CSUN Career Center, helping students grow into their professional identity to achieve their career goals. Welcome, Veronica.
Woo, thank you. All right, Isabel, go for it. Next panelist.
All right. Next up is Michelle Garcia. Michelle is an international student advisement specialist at the International and Exchange Student Center. As an undergraduate student, she worked as a student assistant for 5 years at the Student Services Center for the College of Health and Human Development, EOP Satellite. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you for being here, Michelle. Next up, we have Deanna from Financial Aid. Thank you for being here. She's very involved. This is her second event she's here with us today. So Medina has degrees in history and Chicano studies from CSUN, has served as a financial aid counselor and student employment programs coordinator as a part of the financial aid and scholarship department team for 17 years. She manages financial aid applications, delivers presentations, advises students and families on college expenses, recruits employers for federal work-study student jobs, and ensures smooth federal work-study payroll processes. Her passion lies in empowering students with tools and support essential for their academic success, financial stability, and professional growth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing federal work-study to the first and foremost, to the front. I'm sure many students have a lot of questions as we go on. Thank you. All right, Shannon, go for it. Our next panelist.
Okay, next up we have Christina Leon. Christina Leon is the Human Resources Specialist for Student Employment at the University Student Union. Christina is a fellow Matador and graduated from CSUN in 2018 with a BA in Communication Studies. Christina has worked in higher education for about 4.5 years. Her duties include recruitment and hiring of student assistance employees, conducting trainings for USU staff and student employees, and overseeing the student employment program for the USU.
Thank you for being here, Christina. And then last but not least, that brings that student perspective for us. Go ahead and introduce our last panelist, Isabel.
Awesome. And let's click the next slide, Genesis, for their headshot.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up my other screen. Let me stop sharing for a moment. When you're sharing multiple screens, friend, my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, we have Michael Acevedo, Educational Opportunity Career Peer Educator from the Career Center, one of our student assistants. Michael landed his first job as an EOP program academic mentor, where he has further inspired and motivated to work closely with students in higher education. Within his role as an academic mentor, he saw the work and dedication it takes to run such a program that works closely with upcoming freshman college students that come from historically low income families. Michael himself is a part of this program, which has given him the benefit of having both an insider and outsider perspective, which he states has had a huge impact in his growth as both a student employee and as an individual. Through his involvement and work with the program, he was later offered a new opportunity to acquire the position as a student assistant in the office of the provost, where he learned the basics of what it takes to work as a front desk staff member, such as answering phone calls and emails, tending to incoming guests, and filing data. Now, as a career peer educator at the Career Center, he continues to work with students and often reflects back on his own experiences and different roles he has taken on as a student employee, and can see how much it has helped him strengthen and develop his skills necessary to work in higher education, as he intends to take this knowledge with him when he applies to grad school and any jobs that push him further along to reaching his goal of becoming a college counselor. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here.
Yay, welcome. Thank you everyone for being here, to our panelists, for taking the time to meet with our students and answer student questions and to provide the perspective of being an employer on campus. So really appreciate the time you all have here. We're very intentional about the folks here represented. They cover different aspects of on-campus student employment that are important, right? A student employee who's in the depths of it, who's been in various different departments. The USU is one of the largest employers on campus. We have folks representing financial aid, representing federal work study positions. We also have IESC here because we know we have a large international student population who need on-campus jobs. Bringing in our Career Center to answer those questions as well, and just different folks who hire on campus, who have students in the department, who hire CSUN students. So thank you all for being here and kind of indulging us in here. This is my last reminder to students that this is what the Q&A function looks like in the Zoom room. Feel free to throw your questions in there. We're going to try to answer as many of them as possible, and we're going to have some general questions that our panelists are also going to ask. But with that being said, let me stop sharing so I can see everyone's great faces, since we're all going to just be talking. And I'll start off with the first question. I think this is a fun question because as a student, the process of finding an on-campus job can feel intimidating. It's a big campus. There's a lot going on in the world and on the campus. So putting yourself out there and looking for a job can be a lot. So the first question I want to start off with is, what was your very first job? It could be on campus, it could be off campus. And what was one thing you learned from that experience? Does anyone want to start us off? Go for it, Deanna. Oh, you're on mute. You want me to unmute you? Let me see.
Oh, thank
There
you.
you
So, hi everyone. My name is Deanna again, and I currently work in the financial aid office. But when I was an undergraduate here at CSUN, I actually worked in the history department. The history department was one of my majors here when I was in college, and part of my jobs was to help the office, answering the phone, greet students that were coming in, students that were going to take tests, or helping the faculty, the professors when they would come in. It was a great experience working here on campus because the job was very flexible. I remember going to class, then being able to, the office actually would scheduled me in between my class breaks. So I was already on campus. It was very convenient. I really liked it. I would never imagine that I would still be working here after graduation, but it's awesome because I do love this campus. And so that was one of my first jobs as a college student, was working here on campus.
Yeah, I love that, right? And it's the idea of trying something, you just never know. A lot of the times, I think that was my experience. My first job, I didn't know that I was going to like it so much, or I was going to find out I really didn't like a certain thing. So either way, every experience, good or bad, it has some sort of impact on your decisions and your journey. Although it might feel far away from what your career could be as a student, as you're like, this is my first job, I don't know how it's going to impact me. I encourage you all to try new things. Anyone else want to share maybe one of the first jobs that they took on, what they learned? Guadalupe, go for it.
Hello everyone. Yeah, actually it was as an upward bound tutor mentor. So that was my first job as a student assistant. Very flexible. They understood that we had finals, they understood that we had midterms, max 20 hours. So that really went along with my schedule, school, work, clubs, everything. So that was very helpful. And yes, I know the tutor mentor part means you have to go off campus, but I really liked it. It got me exposed to a lot more than just the CSUN community itself. So LAUSD schools, like I said, Birmingham, Silmar. We used to have even more schools, but now we only have Acevedo, Birmingham, and Silmar. But yeah, it got me exposed and I met a lot of the admin. I got to meet a lot of college counselors and I got to meet a lot of other departments and universities that go to the college center at these high schools. So I would say that was my first experience as a student assistant.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing. It's interesting to see how the different folks you connected with, and from admissions counselors to counselors working in a high school setting, just different exposure to people in different workplaces. Education is huge. There's many different industries that are big with many different roles inside of them. So it's interesting to see what you can get exposed to. All right. Anyone else before we move on to the next question? I don't want, definitely, since there's so many panelists, we don't all have to answer the question, but if someone is itching to share maybe what they've learned from their first job, I'd be more than happy to indulge. Yeah. All right, let's jump into it. Isabel, thank you all. I think it's important to reflect that we all start somewhere, right? You had your first job, you start off somewhere, and it's an opportunity for you all to grow from it. So thank you all for kind of indulging and sharing those stories. We all start somewhere and it helps us grow into something more. So I'm going to pass it off to Isabel for some of our first general questions.
Thank you, Genesis. So I'm glad that we started off with the icebreaker because it pinpointed some of the benefits of working on campus, such as the flexibility and convenience of working where you learn. So I wanted to dive in a little deeper into posing the question to the whole group. Can you share examples of the types of on-campus jobs available in your department? And what qualities do you look for when hiring student employees?
I can go ahead and answer that. So hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Jimenez. I am the advising coordinator for the Educational Talent Search program here at CSUN. So we are hiring right now student assistant mentors for our ETS Region 1 and 2 high schools. As well as middle schools. We are looking for students to go on campus. So we do work at several local San Fernando Valley high schools. We're looking for mentors to go to these schools and provide post-secondary education to students. Essentially, we look for students that are quick learners, are able to adapt quickly, students that have great public speaking skills. And if you don't, we're open to teaching you that as well. We're all about growth here. But definitely for students to be able to work with students that are in grade 6 through 12. You don't have to have any background in regards to working with middle school and high school students. We understand that you're students, this may be your first job, but again, we're looking for students that are willing to learn and that have those skills of like, you've done workshops, right, for your classrooms. So if you've done workshops for your classrooms, make sure to mention that in your interview. We highly recommend to find innovative ways to answer those questions when we are doing the interview process. But definitely looking for those students that are willing to learn, adapt quickly, have great public speaking skills. Again, if you don't, that's fine. We definitely believe in teaching that as well. Did I answer both questions?
Yeah. Yes, you did, Jennifer. Thank you so much for pinpointing the types of opportunities that are available with TRIO, ETS, and Upward Bound programs, but also highlighting, right, that you guys are looking for students that are willing to learn and open to those opportunities and see it as an opportunity to strengthen their skills in whatever their prior experience may be. Thank you. Anyone else wanted to chime in for this question? I'll repeat them again. Can you provide examples of the types of on-campus jobs available in your department? And what qualities do you look for when hiring student employees?
I can take this one. Hi everyone, my name is Christina. I work at the University Student Union. We are considered one of the largest student employers on campus. So as such, we have pretty much over 75 different types of student assistant positions within our department. We have student positions in accounting, if you are accounting majors, programs, if you're interested in programming and event planning. We have our resource centers, which is the Pride Center, the Veterans Resource Center, and the Dream Center. So if you're interested in outreach and supporting the community. And of course, one of the more popular is the Student Rec Center. So that kind of gives you an idea. What we look for in candidates is really understanding the job description and the position that you are applying for. I know a lot of times when students submit their resumes, they sometimes submit too much information, which can make them seem a little bit overqualified for a position that is essentially could be entry level. So really just reflecting on your experience, reading the job description, and then inputting like job duties as it relates to that position or your experience as it relates to that position would help you stand out as an ideal candidate as well. If you notice on our job descriptions, we have a section under the knowledge, skills, and abilities section in the job description that lists the skills that you will have the opportunity to learn, develop, and acquire through your employment with us. So really kind of take a look at that. And if that's something that interests you of like, hey, I would really love to work on my customer service skills or my time management skills. So that can also help you kind of determine what position best suits you. Another recommendation that I would have is if you're interested in working in a department, go and visit department just to see what the environment is like. You can ask questions, like reach out to the supervisor of that department, ask questions of like, hey, what's a normal day look like? I'm interested in applying. What's a normal day look like? And just really just kind of like envision yourself if this is an area that you would like to work in or a position that you can see yourself doing.
Thank you, Christina. I really appreciated how you mentioned, tips and ways for students to stand out among all the applications and making sure that their resumes are tailored and they're using that job description as their study guide to show what they should plug in terms of skills and experiences, but also encouraging students to use the resources available on campus for a specific department that they're looking to apply for, to understand, how to use it and interact with the folks, and getting more involved in that way. So I appreciate your insights. I'm gonna send it over to Genesis for the next question.
Yeah, thank you. I'm hearing a lot of great feedback for students when they're thinking about putting together those applications. Earlier this week on Tuesday, which feels so long ago, we had a whole workshop that focused on how to find on-campus jobs that specifically talked about putting together like resumes, tips for interviewing. These are things that you all are hearing it from employers directly. This is what they're looking for. So the next question I kind of want to throw out there to my panelists is, how can students make themselves stand out when applying for on-campus jobs? Thinking about some good tips or things that they can do now, maybe if they're a little hesitant to apply, things that can make them competitive or stand out when trying to get ready to apply to an on-campus role. Oh, I see Michael. Go for it, Michael.
Yeah, so students can actually do a kind of variety of things to really prepare when they are in the applying process to jobs. Actually, here at the Career Center, something that they can do here at the Career Center is that we have a lot of resources that essentially are going to help them prepare them for those next steps in their academic career. Essentially, we have a resource known as Maddie's Closet, where students can prepare to dress up in professional attire for completely free per semester. So definitely, that is something that students should utilize. You want to make sure you're coming presentable, right? If you're coming into a professional space, you need to also act and come professional, right? That's what some employers are looking for. And you want to make sure that that's the type of energy that you're bringing when you are coming into the interview as well, right? It is something that is a serious process, right? It's a job, it's an opportunity, and it's something that shouldn't be taken, as a playful thing. It is something that is going to further increase your own goals as well within maybe your own major or career. If that is something that, if you're applying to a job that is tied to your own career goals or your current major as well.
Yeah, and I'll have you add on to that one, Michael. I know you've held a lot of different on-campus jobs and you've been with different departments. So can you talk to me about like how you felt or what did you do to felt secure your first on-campus job? Like, how did you know, all right, like, how do I get ready? What steps did you take? What did it feel like to secure that first on-campus job?
So I definitely was somebody that kind of investigated sort of the goals of where I was applying to. So right, so certain places that you apply to, if you check their website, they usually have their mission, right? Their mission and their goals and what they stand for. And that's kind of something that I did to prepare. When I got my first position as an EOP academic mentor, that's something that I always tried to keep in mind when I was applying to those positions, right? Seeing what type of students they're working with, what is their goals of the program, what is it that they highly I guess incorporate within their position, right? What is something that they're looking for that is going to essentially be an asset to their team, right? Be an asset to their team, to that position. And that's kind of what I did. I asked questions. I essentially even contacted certain staff members within the department and just kind of got a little bit more familiarized with them, right? Networking is something that I think is very key. Just kind of putting yourself out there, putting your name out there to employers really makes you stand out, right? Because it's showing that you're putting effort, right? You're putting effort into getting this position. You're putting effort to want to be in that position, right? And that's something that's going to stand out always to an employer compared to other students that may not be doing those same steps.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's such a great perspective. That research beforehand is what we always tell students, like be prepared, be interested in the folks that you are applying for. Employers, especially on-campus employers, can tell when you've used maybe the same cover letter or the same resume to apply to multiple jobs. They're all nodding their heads because like, yeah, we've been there, we've reviewed these resumes. So please be intentional about your application process and what you're submitting in terms of being intentful, being able to talk about yourself and why you want to work for this specific department. Veronica, coming from the Career Center as a career counselor, is there anything you want to add on that students can think about now in terms of maybe experience? I know a lot of students have limited experience when they're trying to secure their first on-campus job. Any advice there that you'd want to add on?
Yeah, thank you for that, Genesis. Yeah, I think so. As a career counselor, I see a lot of students coming in with the same question of, I'm just starting college. I don't have as much experience, and if I do, it may not seem relevant, right? That's what they tend to categorize it as. When in actuality, there's so many experiences that you might not be acknowledging that you can put on your resume. Some of those things can be your academic experience. So that's any projects or group projects that you've done while you were in class. Even if you were a freshman, you can talk about maybe some of those assignments that you're doing while you were in high school. If you have any extracurriculars, you can talk about what your membership looked like there, if you held any leadership position, or if you were just a member. If you had any volunteer experience as well, any work that you've done with your family. What I will say is I feel that a lot of students, when they hear this, they go, okay, that makes sense, right? But how do we apply it to our resume? Because what we always say at the Career Center is that your resume, the only job that your resume needs to do is get you an interview. When you're in the interview, that's when you try to be able to get the job. So that means your resume is the very first impression that these employers are having of you. So therefore, when it comes to your resume, now you're talking about maybe these experiences that are not your traditional paid experiences. What's really important is that you highlight what we call transferable skills, meaning any job that you have, whether it's in retail, it's in fast food, or if it's an admin position, or it's if you are working at a car wash, like regardless of whatever job that you have, you're all gathering certain skills, whether that's people skills, whether it's tangible skills, time management, making sure that you are delivering certain things on time. Those skills that you feel will be relevant for the job that you're applying for, you need to highlight it in your resume, because if you don't, then the employer will do a lot of guessing work of like, okay, I don't really know what I can get a sense of what you're doing in this job. I don't know how I can see how relevant it is unless you state it in your resume, right? You need to put it word for word why it's relevant to the job. That takes some time. So if you need help, like Michael said, we do have resources at the Career Center. We have drop-ins where you can meet with peer educators like Michael that can help you with that, or if you want to meet with a career counselor. So all in all, I think the resume is exactly where we really need students to put a lot of effort into and really be intentional about it.
Thank you, Veronica. What stood out to me from your reflection was oftentimes students may struggle with being able to talk about what their transferable skills are and how to put that in writing. And oftentimes it's workshopping it, brainstorming ideas, and answering those questions of what you did, how you did it, and what came out of that experience to really showcase to employers the whole experience on paper. So we're here at the Career Center to help you. And my next question is for Michelle. We know that for many of our international students, there's a high demand for on-campus positions. And my question is, what is the process for international students to find and secure on-campus employment opportunities, and what support does the International Student and Exchange Center offer in this regard?
Thank you, Isabel, and hi, everyone. Yes, this is Michelle Garcia from the ISC. And I'll start off by saying we know international students are some of our top student populations who are very interested in looking for jobs. But it is safe to say that jobs on campus are limited and very competitive. So going back to my colleagues here, what they mentioned, it is critical that you definitely put in a lot of effort on those resumes to hopefully land an actual interview, and then it transition into a position on campus. Now, at the ISC, our main effort is helping students properly onboard with the department. So unfortunately, we will not help the student actually complete the application, but we do want you to use the resources that our Career Center has and continue to find those on-campus employers through Handshake, through CareerLink, or through the USU. Those are all the different areas that international students can engage and work through. So it is important that you understand that international students are eligible to work on campus, but I think the hardest part is actually landing the positions. You want to make sure you put all your effort in the resume building, in the interview process, so that it can manifest into a position on campus. Unfortunately, it is not guaranteed. We do not guarantee on-campus employment to students. It really is up to what is currently available. If there are any positions on campus that they are hiring or that they can hire for. So understand that. I know it can become frustrating for students at times, but similar to what everyone is echoing here, don't give up, continue to build on those resumes, continue to apply, because you never know when that may actually trigger a job offer. It is also important to understand that at the ISC, there are a few documents that when a student does get a job offer, will need to communicate with us. One of the most important parts of that is through the onboarding process. Human Resource or the USU Human Resource Department will ask for proof or verification that you're authorized to work on campus. So there is a one-page document under our forms and processes, which I'll share in the chat for you all. If you are an international student who is already at the point where you're onboarding, you may come in contact with that form that will require our office to verify your student status or your visa status. Aside from that, our office is similar to Career Center, always providing webinars. We host weekly advisement hours. So if there's any general questions of what the do's and don'ts of on-campus employments, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here to support you and clarify any doubts that you may have about your limitations and abilities to work on campus. But it is safe to say that you're authorized to work 20 hours per week while school is in session. And if the department is hiring during summer or winter term, then you may actually be eligible for full-time hours. Again, it does depend on the department who's hiring you and if those hours are needed. Again, nothing is guaranteed, but there is that opportunity for international students to work full-time during the vacation periods or times.
Gotcha.
So that's just a little bit about us, but definitely keep in contact with us. And I know you'll come into contact with us if you do land an on-campus position.
Yeah, thank you for that super insightful information. Again, we have a lot of international students who are always looking for on-campus work, and just like you said, Michelle, to be frank, it's competitive out there, right? There's no placement. Nowhere on the university and on campus will there be a department that will place you, right? It's just like if you were to go out to look for a job off campus or a full-time role after CSUN, you will have to apply, submit applications. That includes resume, cover letter, interview. There is no placement anywhere on campus. I see a lot of students asking in the Q&A, like, where can I go on campus into an office and just like be placed in a job, right? Or they're like, I'm applying to Handshake, but I'm not hearing back from any employers. there's a lot of different students out there applying. You have to be consistent with your applications. And if what you're doing is using the exact same resume to apply to every single position on Handshake, and you're going apply, 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 or even through the USU portal, like apply, 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 that's why you're not hearing back, right? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's the idea that you got to be intentional with your application, spend some time tailoring your resume, understanding the position that you're applying to, and applying to roles that you feel like you are a good fit for and your skills align for. If you need help with that, please come in to see the Career Center. We do definitely help with applications, like Michael and Veronica have said. Earlier, a lot of folks have said that they are currently looking for students. So I encourage, like Jennifer, Guadalupe, Christina, any departments that are hiring, throw that in where the students can hire in the chat. If there's an application, if there's an email that they can reach out to, or if you want to provide more context, please do so. But I know there's many students eager looking to apply to different roles. So please do that. My next question that I want to focus on is going to go to Deanna. Many students have federal work study or don't know what it is, or they've heard about it in different spaces. Can you talk to us about what federal work study is and how a student knows they have it?
Okay. Thank you so much. So the Federal Work Study is a financial aid award given to students by the federal government. So the first step in students to apply for this award is submitting a FAFSA every year. Now, like other financial aid, the Federal Work Study Award has criteria. And so students are actually pre-screen to see if you meet that criteria, and we will send out an email blast typically over the summer. This year we did it on August 12th, so we did it in August. And if you're a student, you should check your CSUN student email account for this invitation, in which we notified students, letting them know, hey, you've met the criteria for this award. If you're interested, complete a survey. Now, what is the award? Like I said, it's financial aid, but unlike your other financial aid that is given to you up front, this award has to be earned through a job. And the jobs that are available are all around campus. Departments have to register with our office to become what is called an authorized federal work study employer. All of our employers actually advertise their open positions on Handshake. If you're a student who is eligible for the Work Study Award, you will have what's called a Work Study filter option in your Handshake account. So when you log into Handshake to search for on-campus jobs, there is a filter option within Handshake that you would select on-campus jobs. And in addition, you would have an option to also select work study. If you do not have the option for work study, it can mean you're not eligible, or it could just mean that the system didn't pick up your eligibility on the system. And so if you needed to find out, you can email us at work.study@csun.edu. Provide us with your name and CSUN ID number, and we'll get back to you to let you know whether you qualified or don't qualify. So in case you don't find that email that we sent out over the summer, because as we all said, Tuesday seems like it was a long time ago. Summer seems even further away. So don't worry, we're here to help. So you could always just send us an email to ask, or you could also give us a call during our office hours. Our phone number is 818-677-2373. And maybe I will put this in the chat once I'm done talking. I'll provide our email and phone number and phone hours for you all to see. Thanks.
Thanks, Deanna. Definitely for all students in the room, check your emails, look up that eligibility to see if you qualify. But I appreciate you highlighting that, Deanna, and helping students know how to navigate Handshake and using the filter option as well to tailor their on-campus job search. And with that, we're actually now going to transition into the student Q&A session. So if you have questions, we ask that you type them in the Q&A button on your Zoom tools. We'll try to get through most of the questions, but we'll provide our contact email after if we don't get to your question. So I'm gonna pass it on over to Shannon to ask the first question in the Q&A.
Thank you, Isabel. So the first question is from Hussein, and his question, I'm going to direct this over to Christina Leon because he does mention you in the question. His question is, are most on-campus jobs for students entry level?
Specifically for the USU, all of our job postings will have a classification on them. It's usually up at the top along with like the wage scale, the job title, department. The classification helps you determine kind of the skills needed for that position. So if it's class 1 and 2, that is entry level, considered entry level. So usually requires little to no experience. If it's class 3, 4, and 5, that does require some experience related to the position. So when you apply, really take a notice to our classifications just to see whether or not you have the experience or the qualifications for that position. But I would say a majority, maybe more than half, don't quote me on that, but maybe, are considered entry level with little to no experience. So majority of our positions are within that class 1, class 2 range.
Thank you, Christina.
Thanks.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Shannon. I'm going to ask a question from a student now that we were just on the topic of FAFSA. I'm going to ask Deanna. A student asked, with work study, do the funds earned go to the student or go to FAFSA?
Excellent question. They go directly to you as a student through the form of a paycheck. So depending on who your employer is, so Christina, who is here representing the University Student Union, who is also a work study employer, they have a bi-weekly paycheck system. So every other week you would receive a paycheck. Whereas, let's say the Career Center, who is also a work study employer, but they are their paychecks come once a month. So depending on who your employer would be, that's a question you would ask them directly. When are paychecks issued? And so your work study award is actually drawing your timesheets. When you submit your timesheets, it's drawing down from your work study award, and you receive the money as a paycheck. And you can use that paycheck from everything from buying gas, paying rent, buying food, buying books, any of the expenses that you need to help you continue being a college student, you can utilize that paycheck. So great question.
Thank you, Deanna.
Thank
Can
you
also
so
throw
much.
sorry, Michaela, can you throw in your contact information in the chat if you haven't already? I know some students are asking for it.
The work study contact information?
Mhm.
Yes, I did. And I'll throw
Okay.
it out there in case it gets lost in the chat.
In the sea of chat. Yes, thank you. Go for it, Shannon.
Alrighty, so this student is wondering, if they're a first year at CSUN, can they still get a job considering that this specific student does already have years of experience in customer service? Let's see, I might put that one to Veronica.
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. So to the question of if you're a first year student and you already have years of experience or just experience in general, then the hope is yes, that you are able to eventually attain a job on campus. But again, kind of what I mentioned earlier, even if you don't technically have that traditional paid experience where you're working like part-time, there are still ways to talk about previous experiences like academic experience, volunteerships, or even working with family or friends, whatever the case may be, to be able to add that to your resume, and then eventually get a position. So it doesn't matter whether you're a first year or if you are junior, senior, or if you have zero experience to as many experiences as you can. What I will say is the important thing is to just make sure to read the job description fully, because there are times where the job does require a certain level, like they might say only open to sophomore and juniors, right? Or they may say only open to juniors and seniors, or they may say open to all, or they might even say open to graduate students. There are also sometimes job postings that will say preferred qualifications, and that's basically clues into what they're looking for on your resume. And then to be able to tailor your resume, you can take some of the wording that is on the job description and try to apply it to your resume, so that you are really studying up on what the job is looking for, but you're also showing this is how my job can be applied to your job that you're trying to hire for. This is how I think I'm relevant for your position.
Thank you, Veronica. Now I have another student asking, do you have any recommendations regarding the interviewing process? I'm going to throw this one to the two that are employed right now, Guadalupe and Michael.
Can you please repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, sure. It is, do you have any recommendations regarding the interviewing process?
Yes, definitely. So, actually, here at the Career Center, we do facilitate mock interviews as well. So, if that is something that you do have in the near future, potentially an interview, I would highly recommend take advantage of these resources that we offer, right? That's why they are here. They are for all CSUN students, they're free. And what better way to prepare for an interview than to have a mock interview, right? You want to see what kind of questions you're going to potentially be asked, but also the type of interviews that you may encounter, right? Because there's not just one form of interview, there's different interviews. There's group interviews, right? There's panel interviews, right? There's a solo interview, which is just you and the employer. So also just getting familiarized with how those interviews are, how they differ, and how they can also be similar can be very helpful, and we can definitely help you with that through the Career Center as well.
I think just voicing what everybody else has been saying, coming prepared, reading the job description. You're interviewing for it, so you should know what you're interviewing for. So reading that job description thoroughly, looking at our websites. If you can find their social media as well, look into that. Any background that you can find, do so. Come prepared. We do ask you these questions, and it's very awkward when somebody comes in with an I don't know or don't know anything regarding the job at all. The interview can go a little bit funny. We definitely don't want that, right? We want it to flow. We want a good connection with that possible student assistant. That's my recommendation is come prepared. Come with questions as well that you have for us. And that's what we really want to see as interviewers in general.
Thank you for that,
Thank
Guadalupe. I
you.
think that's great perspective. Thank you to Shannon and Michaela for facilitating our Q&A and getting some of our students' questions answered. I see a couple more questions in the Q&A. A lot of them can be answered by reaching out to us via email. Come to the Career Center to ask those questions. I would say the Career Center or drop-ins are the good kind of first place to come to kind of wayfinding, figuring out where to go next, or what is next in your on-campus job search. Does that mean you have questions like if you're not sure if you have federal work, so you're not sure how to navigate Handshake, you want to know where to look for the USU jobs and like get acclimated to their portal, or you need to create a resume because you've never created one. There's a great question in the chat that says, where is the Career Center located? I don't think I've mentioned it, but we are in Baramian Hall 413 on the 4th floor. So Baramian Hall is that building where is cash services and cash services and financial aid on the 1st floor. You probably know it, the building because of that, but we are on the 4th floor of that building. So please do come and visit us. We are Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5 open, and then Fridays we're open 9 to 4. So please join us. We have virtual and in-person services for students who don't find themselves on campus too much. Please join our virtual services. I want to launch a poll. Isabel, so can you launch the last poll for students that are here? And while students are answering the poll, so please do me the favor, answer the questions in the poll. It's 3 short questions. It should take you less than 5 minutes or even less than that. I want to thank the panelists. Thank you for your time here, for carving time out of your busy days in the fall semester. I know how busy it can be. I appreciate you all for being here and for speaking to students and for advertising these roles and for being supervisors on campus. I don't think a lot of different supervisors get enough credit. You all make it possible so students can work on campus and get these enriching experiences. So really, really from the bottom of my heart and the Career Center team, thank you for saying yes to this opportunity and always consistently collaborating with us. I appreciate you all. I have one last shameless plug as students are answering the polls. Keep on answering those polls, students. Let me see, you all can see my screen, I hope. Can you? Yes. We have a couple workshops coming up. So the next workshop that could be of interest to everyone, we've talked a lot about resumes and cover letters and applications. Please, 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 we have our next workshop in launching your career series is the resume workshop. Please join in and check out the Career Center's entire workshop schedule. We have, I think it's at least over like 5 different workshops, at least 8 total maybe, that focus on different things from resumes, from interviewing, from branding. So please join our workshops. This is the next one we have. I'm going to put the link to register in the chat in case students want to access it. So please register for the event, get reminders, check out our full event schedule on Handshake. I encourage you all to take advantage of it. It is coming up in 2 weeks. It is also virtual. It's a great opportunity to start practicing those resume skills, put into practice what all these employers have been telling you. It's not just me. It's not just the Career Center, y'all. It's not just career counselors who are like, you know, update those resumes, tailor those resumes. It's many different employers, especially our on-campus employers. And then my last shameless advertisement, if it loads. Oh no, did I put it in? Oh, there it is. Can you all see this? At least the QR codes? Yes. Follow us on social media. If you are like, how do I stay up to date with the Career Center? What's an easy way? I know you all are on Instagram. I know you all are on TikTok. So are we. So please follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We're consistently posting and reminding you all of things that we have coming up. So please scan that QR code if you want to follow us on Instagram or TikTok. That's probably the fastest way to stay up to date with us. We're consistently posting. But with that being said, we'll close the poll now, Isabel. And thank you all. Thank you all for being here. This ends our session for today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And see you all my panelists next time. I'll bug you each semester, each time we do this. Bye, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.